Good evening. I believe it's fair to ask ourselves why we should consider tonight's two proposals to change our city's west side blueprint. What problem is it that proposals address? Are we out of property zoned for residential purposes? Is there a problem with the land use design of our west side master plan to fix? We simply invested so much energy and effort into the staff work on the proposals that we don't want to go back. Now
the decisions we make now will impact the next generation. Our goal is to continue supporting and building into the foundation laid before us, using a plan centered on managed growth that plan for. We know we're going to grow. What we have to do is control it and manage it. In the city of Madison, growth needs to be controlled. And council and our department heads together a growth plan. We continue to say yes where we say yes and no where we must say no.
So how do we manage growth? It's pretty simple, actually, since we only have two mechanisms: our west side master plan and our growth policy. The plan and policy may not be perfect, but they're the only tools we have to manage growth. They just align with our vision and help us calibrate pace and type of growth. While championing the plan and policy, Mayor Finley said there's always room for improvement later. I would normally ask, why wait? But in this case, we're not even using tools that we constructed for the very purpose of managing growth. And critically, there really is no room for later improvement. Forfeit land reserve or other uses, legally binding precedent, and implant residential growth patterns that we cannot later redirect for quality of life generating purposes. Sorry, I'll have to ask you to slide 3, please. Thank you. Managing growth remains the same narrative that you all committed to your campaigns. We're having expensive fixes now because we didn't anticipate and plan appropriately when making our decisions years ago, and many decisions simply can't be fixed. Ms. Denzine observed at the last meeting how we didn't install adequate road capacity in order to keep industrial areas next to railroad tracks, as Hunt's done. And no matter where we widen it, we'll have a choke point on Sullivan next to Madison Elementary because we didn't have sufficient vision for future needs. Now a vision, and we've been an appropriate land use mix, and that is laid out in our side master plan. The west side is our frontier, and we only get one shot to get this right. Next slide, please. There aren't other Madison citizens here because of other life priorities, because COVID, because they're unaware of the issues, because most frankly don't know how the process works, and because many of those who jaded. But most of all, perhaps, because all of them empowered and entrusted you to do what you promised, to institute and honor plans and policies to protect our city's interests, to not simply underwrite growth, but to manage it. We're also committed to presenting neutral creep, yet that's precisely what these two developments are. Next slide. What the developments are not is in alignment with our west side master plan growth policy. 2 weeks ago, I pointed out actual deficiencies, the house cards that these proposals were founded upon. That matter and false facts laid down wrongful paths. The false statement that these were included in growth impact committee projections, the false infill presumption, the disingenuous treaty protectionist assertions, the absence of stated occupancy limits, construction catch-up provisions, uncontrollable age restriction provisions, the true volume of West Side Master Plan residential limits that have already been made, school capacity and limestone school tax deficits, artificially inflated traffic speeds and road inadequacies, the loss of revenue rating commercial zones. These proposals are founded on misleading and false premises wrongfully presented as fact throughout the entirety of the decision process, from the Planning Commission to the working session to council meetings. It is incredulous how many assertions have been made in support of these proposals that are simply false. The data are indisputable. The question is whether them and your commitments to growth guide your decision or not. Next slide. We must ask ourselves, are we considering these because they support our strategic plan and is the right way to do it, or are we simply trying closure on an issue we've invested a lot of time and energy on? There's some appealing aspects with these developments, especially Barnett's Crossing, and anyone would be reluctant to stop the momentum after so much effort and resource have been invested to refine them. But why aren't we building them on property we programmed for that purpose, rather than taking away from land we preserved for other purposes? You've held West Side Master Plan and Growth Policy up as a shining pillar of our city's growth management strategy, the tools that allow us to manage growth. Yet these proposals are not in alignment with the policy.
5 minutes.
I'm concluding. Thank you. Thank you. And if we're not following plan and policy, then precisely how are we claiming to manage growth? We have an opportunity and an obligation to get this right. I implore you to not let your vote be on the wrong side of your commitment in this issue. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Jocelyn Brown.
Mike Sheehy. I want to add a little bit, respond a little bit if I could. First of all, I got to say, I love this plan. I love the plan. I think most of us do. As Mary Beth stated, it addresses a need we have for senior housing, age-restricted housing. As I pointed out before, we don't control whether these are age-restricted or not. Federal law does, and unless we have a developer agreement, which is our only binding contract with this developer, we don't have any control of the CNRs or anything. It's been addressed elsewhere, but I addressed that. I love this plan. I would just love if it were done in a place that's zoned for residential growth. This is not zoned for residential growth. This is zoned for rural and transition. It's zoned agricultural now, but it's been planned for rural transitional area, just the property north of it. Did you know, I'm assuming you don't know, 14% in 2016 when we did our West Side Master Plan, 14% of our undeveloped land mass was set aside for rural and transitional areas. We had a percentage of all the different types of zoning. 14% was set aside for rural and transitional areas. Area Mary Beth mentioned just to the north of the property, part of that 14%. It's been converted to residential. Other rural and transitional areas have been converted to residential. So we pretty much determined that our West Side Master Plan, we don't care about that. We don't want to preserve rural and transitional areas anymore. We've designated land for residential purposes. This is a plan. Let's do it. A place that was designated for residential purposes. It doesn't comply with the growth policy. The tree canopy that's there, I believe, is in the part that's owned by a land trust. And again, it's on unbuildable property in a flood zone that no one will touch. It doesn't meet the infill requirement. I won't ask you to put the map back up, but when you look at the proposal for that, look at the majority of land, how that's being used for single-family homes, not for senior homes. The only allowance for single-family homes is infill to a senior project. That is not infill. That takes up, I remember, 50-something% is for family homes. That is not infill. And the last item I would address is what Mary brought up about these being covered by the growth committee projections. That is absolutely untrue. And with Mr. Seifert at the Planning Commission discussions on this, Ms. Potter asked the question. I was there when he asked the question. Yes, they were calculated in. If you go back and you look at the Growth Impact Committee reports, their presentations, and you look at our West Side Master Plan and planning map, the Growth Impact Committee was really based on master plan project for undeveloped land. Again, this land was slotted to be used for rural and transitional area, just like the Bella Woods was slotted to be used for something different. Now, Bella Woods did have some small portion of housing in DeKalb. This didn't. This was dedicated for rural and transition. You got 17 houses that we could calculate, and that's the maximum we could calculate in for students is 17 houses. This development is going to give us, I believe, 181 houses. That was in no way calculated in our student projections. This is above and beyond our growth entities' worst case scenario. And to call out anything else is a farce. And I'm going to put it that way, but that's the ground truth. And I can show you the documents where it comes from. So again, we pointed out we all have different opinions. Opinions and perspectives are one thing, facts are another. We have to rely on facts to make our decisions. We've got a lot of facts here. The facts are this is dedicated for something else. It was not calculated in our zoning presentations, and we're giving up the last available land that we've got rural and transitional use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else like to address council that hasn't on this subject?
Hello again, Mike Sheehy. I'm going to get a capacity issue on roads. Other than mentioning that, I did address that in my previous presentation. And Zaleer is correct. You can measure. I guess I'm not ignoring the traffic capacity on road issue. You can measure it a lot of different ways, but if you're not measuring in specific time increments, then you get a flawed picture. It's kind of like when Dr. Nichols mentioned earlier, we'll be at 97% capacity for the schools in due time. That's 90%, 97% capacity overall. That might mean we're at 110% capacity in the elementary school and under capacity in the middle schools. You've got to take that down. It's the same thing on the traffic roadways. We've already demonstrated the shortcoming in our transportation master plan that show that the data going in doesn't actually predict the capacity at rush hour in particular. We've heard real world evidence tonight, not from Ms. Lear, but from the gentleman that lives off of Harm Road about, and you saw in the pictures and you've driven it yourselves. I'll just get past that point because we all agree that either there's a traffic problem. I don't know why we don't acknowledge that publicly. I'm saying, and this is all related, Mr. Shaw, to come point. I'm going to get it. I'm kind of witnessing, and this goes back to the previous meeting someone said earlier where you made the comment. We all know how to vote. Let's just get on with it. Frankly, I wanted us to get on that night as well. If you were to public, and honestly, I'm getting a million texts throughout the meeting, not from y'all, but if you would have polled public, we would have predicted exactly how the vote going to go down tonight. Exactly. In fact, we did ago before this all started. So there's a part of me that feels like we're wasting our time and energy, coming up here. There's a perception that, there's the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The perception is that's the incumbent administration, and that the newcomer administration is supposed to be, if it ain't broke, let's improve it. But, so change may be inevitable, but we control the change. Peter Drucker says the best way to predict your future is to create it. We've done that. We've got a comprehensive plan back to 1995. That's old. It's been updated. When last time it was updated, you might know this, Mr. Seeper, on the Planning Commission, 2006. Okay, if you look through that, it's obsolete. It's about our western boundaries being located at certain roads and that. But that is our strategic plan. We got the West Master Plan that addresses part of our city. The comprehensive plan is the only thing that we can call a strategic plan. It was built in 1995. Many provisions of that are completely outdated. He says we came up with a plan. Mr. Powell says we came up with a plan a few years ago. Well, we did. We came up with a pretty good plan, and you did it. And I agree with you. And I've talked before about having a strategic plan. I've gone back through reading multiple times and read through the West Side Master Plan, the growth policy. I could quote provisions that better than anybody on stuff. But we did come up with a plan a few years ago, and it's a darn good plan. Mr. Seifert says we want to manage growth in a predictable way. How do we predict? We have plans. So if the plans aren't good, why are we changing them now? What I'm perceiving, and frankly, what a lot of the audience is perceiving, is that we're not looking for we're not changing because we have to change. We're changing it willy-nilly. Just because we don't have a rationale. We're rationalizing to ourselves about why we're changing the plan. We're making excuses, but we don't have a legitimate rationale for changing the plans. There's a deflection. Every time somebody gets up here and addresses about the roads, or about the schools, every time those are challenged, and then the facts prove those is right. Nobody on council or on staff has said, actually, Mr. Chanel actually did just say the passages are adequate. But we all know the reality is different. But it's a deflection when we start attacking the messenger rather than addressing the issues that are being presented. And that we're getting a lot of that. In terms of the plans, I would ask, as Mr. Pennell said, if we have a plan, and you defended it, and appropriately so, because I honestly just believe the West Side is not perfect, but I think the West Side Master is a darn good plan. If it's good, then why are we changing it? If it's not a good plan, why don't we come up with a better comprehensive plan, as Ms. Bartlett has stated? We don't change plans again just because we have to. Former soldier. When we go to war, we don't country X and say, well, let's go drop paratroopers in on country X because there's a conflict there, and say, as they're dropping out of the airplane, let's switch over to country Y. We do it because there's a compulsion. Mr. Spencer's a developer. When we're building a house or neighborhood, we don't go in and say, well, I'm going to start building. I've got an architect's plan, I have a city permit. I'm going to build a single family house. And then in the middle of that, without any given rationale, without compulsion, we're just like, well, I'm going to build an auto shop. And so there has to be a reason for our changes. Let's not just make excuses just to change. Let's have valid rationale to do it. And again, I don't think we have a rationale. My perception is we're rationalizing. And again, that's predicted based on we knew exactly how everybody was going to vote. If the plan is good, stick to it. We haven't identified any problem with the West Side Master Plan. You know, the Barnett's Crossing, again, it's very appealable for a lot of reasons. I love that. The West Side Master Plan has provisions that allow us to build that exact same property in the locations. Same thing with Bellwoods. There's probably no more prime example of the residential that you guys swore that you would prevent. And I can go back into the exact date. It was just a few months back where you swore you were going to prevent residential creep. There's no more prime example of that than Bellwoods. Unlike Barnett's, offering us a variance and genuine multi-generational housing, legitimate multi-generational housing that is a new option and a desirable option for us. Bellwoods offers us nothing than what we've already got. We're just extending out. We're doing residential creep on what we've already got. What's on the horizon, is Mr. Spencer said? What's on the horizon? Bellwoods was not the Mazda toy plant. Bellwoods is Barnett's Crossing was in the middle of Huntsville. That horizon in rural transitional area was because of its boundaries with the industrial zone that we were trying to buffer from residential that now we're not going to be able to do. It was buffering from some other things. We've just taken that. But what's on the horizon for Bellwoods? I can tell you exactly what's on the horizon for Bellwoods. What we're giving up with this decision. We're giving up commercial property. And what's on the horizon, 200 meters down the road, is Huntsville's big intersection where they're going to have commercial property. Where Huntsville is going to have revenue generating property because we just gave ours up because we're going to adopt more of the same type of housing that we've already got through this residential. So what's compelling us to give our own commercial opportunities, our own revenue generating opportunities, and to abandon a plan that's a pretty darn good plan. There's nothing compelling us to do this. And oh, by the way, the back of the napkin that Mary Beth was mentioning, you know, I've back of the napkin things before. I recall an instance where somebody did a back of the napkin drawing on one thing. The next day it was $400,000 from scratch. So I caution on back of the napkin things. But I would add, if we're looking to genuinely reduce the density on things, why is it an RC2 project? Why not an RC1? It's lower density. You get the same effect, but it lowers the density. We're not considering things like that. But again, we're giving up a lot. And I would ask you, why are we giving up a good plan? What's our compulsion? We're just rationalizing to ourselves that somehow this is a good idea. Let's buy into more of what we've already got. I don't know that I'm going to have any effect on that because, again, we kind of predict where the voting was going on that. You're either on the if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or if it ain't broke, let's improve it. But I hope you give it consideration. And I thank you for your.
Thank you.